scrum to Wigan.
Yeah.
Hull got the scrum, kept the pressure on, scored the try from another Wigan mistake. So you can only blame yourself for making mistakes like that after defending so well to keep them out.
Yeah.
But that aside, that was the only real clanging he made defensively in this one, to my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always been selective in taking those hit-ups from kicks to avoid heavy contact. He's always been selective, mostly because some of the contact has been distributed out on him over the years has been thoroughly nasty.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you, if you're a bit of a grub, do that to the best player on the pitch, which he often was between 2010 and 2013. But yeah, I think the injury he picked up in that Wakefield game has knocked his confidence in his body a little bit, just as he was building up. Because before that, he was averaging a try or an assist every game, more than every game, actually 1.5 or something. He was doing really well at that stage, and then he's tailed back, unfortunately. So we'll see if that confidence in his body and stuff can build back up, pick back up, and by the time the end of the season comes around,
hopefully
he'll be firing on all cylinders for Wigan and potentially England. But yeah, his attack has frustrated me in recent times. To be honest, a lot of Wigan's attacking structures just mean that they can be easily read, and Sam can't perform miracles when he's not fully fit. It's hard enough to perform them when you are fully fit. And he can't be expected to take slow balls from halfbacks that haven't even made even a half attempt to draw a defender in, and then he's expected to beat the centre, the second rower and the winger and get the ball through to Wigan's winger on his own. We're asking a lot.
I agree.
The attacking structure is the problem, but Hull FC's attacking structures aren't a problem. They've simplified things right up. They go direct. Danny Houghton really makes a mess of things when it's a one for the opposition, when it's a one marker situation, and Liam Watts, Frank Pritchard, Scott Taylor are all playing well enough to create a lot of single marker situations, and then Sneed just kicks. That's all he does, but he does it so well that is significant.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, tell us the story of this one then. Give us some numbers.
Well, the numbers were close, with 2 tries scored each and only 20 metres difference in the totals between the sides. Hull made more though, and did more with the ball that they had. 6-2 in clean breaks. They had a better average game. They also respected possession a bit better. 9 errors to Wigan's 12.
Okay, and
Wigan had a bit more ball and won the penalty count, conceding only 6 to Hull's 10. But obviously Wigan conceded them in kickable situations with that Hull took advantage of. Better tackle success also underlines that Hull were a bit better on the night. Talking about penalties, actually, that's the swing point in this game for me, was that penalty Wigan took 2 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, we tied it up.
The score at that time was 6-2, and we took the 2 to take it to a full converted try margin.
Yeah.
Now, I would suggest we needed more than that at that stage. And that opening burst to that spell, both teams had a rest, but Wigan had come out, I thought, more energised in that very quick early few sets, won a couple of penalties, made a lot of ground, and were winning collisions and were carrying people with them in that. And for the benefit of the 2 points, I think, well, Sneed's not going to miss a kick, is what you have to assume. Smith might. Smith kicks at 75%, Sneed kicks at 85%. You've got to throw that into your calculations, and a one-score game is not good enough, even with how good our defence has been this year, because our attack hasn't been good enough. So we need to take more advantage of those opportunities, and Hull, after that period, took advantage of all their opportunities and then defended really well in the last few minutes against a toothless attack.
There you go. Okay, individually, who stood out for us?
Fatuli Talanoa, 1 try and 137 metres for him. Mark Minicello 116 metres, Scott Taylor 105 metres, mate, 50 tackles.
Yeah, mate. Okay, and for Wigan then, who were the standout performers?
Well, Oliver Gildart made 142 metres, and so did Taulima Tautai, who I thought was exceptional on the night. John Bateman with 120 metres and 4 successful offloads, worked his socks off, did as much as he could, but he seems to be on a mission on his own and not really connecting up with the rest of the way the team is working. But that's not necessarily a bad thing with how bad our attack is. But it'd help if he sort of clued up a bit with a couple of players around him.
Yeah, and he'll come back. He's coming back from a lengthy period of time off. And I actually thought, and I think I said this to you on the night, he looked like the only one that was running any kind of contra line or nothing that wasn't just straight one up stuff.
Certainly regularly,
giving you options, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then Sam Powell 47 tackles, so he almost matched his hooking counterpart.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, to the fan reviews then. Aidan Stalker, he got in touch. He said Wayne's Wigan Wally's wobble on way to Wembley. Well, they were woeful and they didn't make it all the way to Wembley. I'll throw my own bit of alliteration in there. Al Walker, alright Al, he got in touch. He says great game. One thing, why were there only 10,000 spectators? Even a small stadium like the Keepmoat was 60 to 70%. It makes no sense. Donny's not Heartlands enough, he questions. No need to go because it's on the BBC, he asks. Don't want to criticise the fans, but why not give home field advantage and dare the opposition not to go? Respect to all players and fans there, but sometimes I struggle with art.
You were talking about just how much you love him on there.
I do love him. He's a passionate man, and I'm saying the other day, I think pretty sure we could rock up in Barcelona, and if we were homeless, he'd put a roof over our heads. But yeah, I do. I have to be a bit more on my guard with Al's. But basically, he does make some points, doesn't he?
The night, being on the Friday night, not a weekend, being a certain distance away, and being on free-to-air television gives all the excuses that some of the complacent Wigan fans needed. We sort of mentioned that already. I think there's plenty of people that can't go to every game. There's plenty of people that struggle on a Friday night, although there's also plenty of people that can't go on a Saturday because they're young and that's when they work. That's the opposite way around. Sometimes we have a full 7-day working week these days, so let's not pretend that there's not people who have work issues on a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, whenever you want to choose to play these games. There's some people who just found it too easy to. So there's some people who have those genuine reasons, childcare issues or what have you, work things. But I don't think enough people made any sort of effort to get around any of those. There you go. In the circumstances where they could. Some people can't. Some people are single parents, or some people can't get out of shifts, or it's their partner's shift that needs changing, and the partner's not going to take a holiday so you can go and watch Wicked or what have you. And we know people in those circumstances, and that's understandable. But there's also lots of people who are like, well, I couldn't finish at work till 5, so I was never going to make it. Well, you could have possibly asked your boss. You could finish an hour earlier. You could have started an hour earlier, so you could finish an hour earlier. There's people who might have had those opportunities or options and have chosen for whatever reason, I think, not to take them. Well, anyway, that's that done. I'm not going to mention the crowd again, other than to say the whole crowd was great.
Yes,
and the Wigan fans that were there sang really well.
Yeah, they did. Tyler Casvan said it was a tense, nervous game with not much skill on show. Either team could have won with defences on top. Hull did the ugly stuff a little better than Wigan. Dane LBW says, I thought Hull were going to lose that game. They certainly seem to be trying to anyway in the last 10 minutes or so. But well done to them for holding out in the end. They're the best team this year and deserve a trip to Wembley. Plus, it is always good to watch Wigan lose. Quite a lot more words on a team other than her own, I would point out, but okay. Cutthroat Jake, Jamie Shaw for England fullback, winky face. Andrew Scrimshaw, he said, fantastic game. Both sides gave 100%, thought the ref was very poor in general, and Wigan exploited his poor interpretation of the ruck much better than Hull. The Effort FC showed...
disagree.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. The Effort FC... It's neither here nor there now, though, is it? The Effort FC showed in defence was outstanding and was the difference in the end. Wigan fans should be ashamed that with that turnout, an embarrassing effort. Wembley, here we come. That's good Scrimshaw. Scoots McKenzie got in touch. He said, wow, what a match. Tough defence by Hull tonight was really what won it for us, I think. Big game from all. Lovely picture of Scoots and Owen and the whole crowd, wasn't it, that came through, which was great to see. I just wonder if Owen ever takes that flat cap off and whether underneath it there's like some sort of folding out Sideshow Bob-esque hair.
Next time we see her,
we'll have to find out.
Also, we need an update on whether the chance in Wembley with Helen's pregnant state.
Yes, that's it. You never know, do you? Right. Paul Max 78, Thunder from Down Under. He says,
actually, I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask Owen if you fancied a trip to Lee against Salford with me, because I quite fancy going and watching that game, but I need someone to go with. Really, I don't really feel like going to it on my own.
Well, run the dates by me, and if we can make a do of it, I could definitely be free for that if there's provided there's no urgent childcare stuff going on. Paul Mac 78 said, great game, not a fan of either team, but I was nervous as hell toward the end. Hull probably deserved it as a couple of calls late went against them. Also, I think I've seen the England halves in this game. Sneed and Williams were the best two players on the park and are in better form right now than either Widdop or Hodkinson. Tess Stinks got in touch. He said, Hull did all you have to do to beat this Wigan side, match them physically and were patient. Great effort from all. Richard Tordoff said, Mark, this is the worst time to lose a semi-final, but you got there and are still up with a chance of silverware, and pointed out that he's a Bulls fan. So, yeah, it could be a lot worse, mate, couldn't it?
I'd rather lose in the semi than the final. Yeah. That's my take on it.
Fair enough.
I'd rather lose in the semi than the final.
It's never a good time, although I'm struggling to recall. Paul Campbell, Hull FC fully deserve to win. Hope they win the treble. Wayne needs to go. His style of play is not working. You addressed this in the car with me, so I assume we're not going to go rehash old ground then.
Well, we didn't do it for the listeners, but no. I have done it plenty of times this year for the listeners earlier, and if people follow me individually on Twitter, they'll see I say this almost every time we lose, which is, if he doesn't make a major final, certainly I think with the way our team has performed in attack as well this year, there's got to be serious questions asked of his position at the club. Yeah,
and that little tweet was my last hope of trying to initiate a Mark rant, so I think we're done for the week. Dave Pye got in touch. He said, great effort from Hull and Wigan. Both teams gave it everything. Hull found a bit more entry than Wigan in the second half and started to win collisions and got their fair share of quick balls. Small margins that led to Hull coming out on top slightly on the scoreboard. Did Wigan's banned players make the difference? What do you think?
I'm struggling to think of anything Tierney did wrong that Charlie would have improved upon, to be completely honest. Charlie's obviously a more rounded, complete player at this stage, but I'm struggling to think of that being a major difference. And Frank Paul Nuasala probably just would have got himself sent off or given away 5 penalties, so not a difference made.
No, there you go. Right, Rich Langley, quality
it's their own fault anyway. It's their own fault anyway.
There you go. Rich Langley, quality game which demonstrated the good, the bad and the frustrating about following a rugby league team. Both sides came to play, ref gave some funny calls and the video ref didn't have his spec saver provided glasses. Hull weathered the Wigan pressure and ground out the win in a performance ground out the win the performance deserved. Warrington and Rovers versus everyone else at Wembley. It seems that way, doesn't it?
I'll tell you what was the funny call. It was actually, even though it was a very, very low tackle, it was a high tackle. The one where Ben Flower conceded the penalty on, I can't remember who was the Hull player. It was Chris Green, wasn't it? He just stood up and threw the ball away as if
and then
it was going to be a penalty.
And then held his head.
And so then the ref went and checked it, and he did catch him round the mush. I mean, it was difficult for him. He could have avoided hitting him in the head, but it makes it more difficult when you're in positions doing that you're not. That is not the position you normally find yourself in when you're trying to stop a player. So you've got to have a little bit of sympathy for Flower in that regard. But the referees, the officials, probably could have, if they'd have spotted it first time round and given a penalty, fine. The fact that the Hull player took it into his own hands to decide it was a penalty, and so they reviewed it and gave the penalty that way. Well, there's lots of other things they could review every single game that they don't, and it's that's frustrating to see. Even though in the end the decision was a high tackle, so you do give penalties for those situations. But every single high tackle that happened after that, I mean, Dan Sargent's nose got busted. There wasn't a penalty involved there, and so you think, well, you know,
it's frustrating.
It's very annoying when you're on the wrong side of that situation. Do you see what I mean?
I agree. No, and morally it felt a bit corrupt the way that Chris Green went about getting that as well, because they brought the concussion, they brought the physios on, they were looking at his head,
and then he still didn't
go off. So that's been mismanaged as well, because if they're that concerned about his general well-being, he should be off the pitch getting looked at. But and it only and the fact that he remained only served to add to the. It felt a bit like he was conning the ref into having another look at it, which is something we'd started to see creeping in the NRL as well, wasn't it?
So and we don't want it.
No, not at all. These lads are tough enough to play this sport without needing to con.
We don't want
the odd additional high shot out of a referee. No, of course we don't want it, but there was a it was in a grey area for me that wasn't particularly enjoyable. Tim G Radio will give you the final word on this. Ori, Tim, he said, great game to watch. FC weren't revolutionary. They just played very well by doing the basics and had done their homework at where they needed to apply pressure to Wigan. Thanks to the BBC Mike, I've found out that Gareth Ellis makes sexual noises when making a tackle.
I did catch the rerun of his bit on the Saturday coverage, and actually it was quite entertaining.
Does a lot of talking as
when he was like, "Oh, this is a bit tense for me." That even Emma sparked up to that one, and that gave her a little rise.
There you go.